to our biggest news story, in my opinion, this week. The WWE terminated their contract with Panini on trading cards for the same thing as the NFL breach of contract. Apparently, this happened 2 weeks ago, and we only found out about it last night because Panini filed countersuit. So Fanatics is actually expected to get the rights immediately as opposed to the NFL, which is very interesting to me. And I was reading through some of the documents and all that. The WWE allegedly demanded Panini to immediately pay $5.6 million, the minimum royalties due under the contract, which I found interesting. And the WWE claims that the Panini didn't engage in good faith efforts towards cards and NFTs, which I don't get because in Panini's countersuit, they said that the WWE thanked them for basically tripling their profits on that margin. So that's just baseless to me, in my personal opinion. But this is where I was doing a little bit of a deep dive before the show. I see a connection here. This might be a little bit of a stretch, but I see a connection here. Earlier in the year, by the way, this happened on August 29th, and the news broke yesterday on September 20th. Earlier in the year, WWE partnered with the NFL to sell customized championship belts for all the teams on a multi-year licensing deal. So that happened August 29th. And currently, right now, it is September 21st. The NFLPA news about Panini losing their deal came out on August 22nd. The timing of all of that, so close, it smells super fishy to me, super suspect. To me, it just seems like Fanatics is cutthroating to get this monopoly right now. It seems like the higher ups are talking. It's super, super interesting to me. And WWE has been active in addressing its marketing campaign in the last couple of years. I mean, for years, they have been sending customized belts to the Super Bowl winners as a sign of respect and good public relations. So what's your thoughts on that, CK Cross?
Hey man, I love wrestling. Well, I don't really watch it anymore, but used to be a pro wrestler, so I definitely got love for the business, got love for the industry. WWE was a company that I, would have loved to have worked for back then. But in terms of the contract, what I'm more interested in, that was like a different line. What I'm more interested in now is the whole breach of contract thing. Because to your point, there obviously seems to be some sort of collusion going on here, right? So whoever it was, the last we left off with the NFL was that, and we don't even know if it's confirmed. It's just based off the stuff that we read and we heard that they were going to try to leave the contract breach or whatever was possibly the change in leadership or something, because Fanatics had scalped a bunch of people from Panini. So it kind of now, especially when you mentioned with the deal back in August, it kind of seems like maybe that person obviously had the main connections with the NFL, with the NFLPA, or I said the NFL, I meant the NFLPA, with the WWE. So there seems to be a connection there, right? Whoever this person is, he's trying to pull the strings on Fanatics' side now, the same way he got the deals. Well, I'm assuming this person is the one who maybe got the deals from these people in the first place. Maybe now he's working for Fanatics and he's trying to do the same thing for them. And it's ruthless. It's business. They always say that the shrewd businessmen are the best ones. That's what they say. And Fanatics is kind of showing you right now. They're strong arming. They're not really concerned about monopoly laws. They're not concerned about any of that stuff. They're just rolling deep. So I was curious when I first heard the news. We hadn't heard of what the breach was. According to this article from Fightful.com, like you said, they're saying that it was lack of good faith. So what that would mean to me is they feel like Panini was maybe not making as much money as they could, maybe because they didn't want to pay certain royalties when it was due. They tried to maybe keep the numbers down a little bit so that they can keep up. But the thing with that is, like, sometimes as a business owner, you always want to put your pedal on the gas and go. But sometimes you do try to do things to like boost your market a little bit, to boost your demand or whatever it may be. So sometimes you may hold things back for purposes of that. Sometimes cash flow can be an issue. Sometimes just maybe business was booming and you don't have enough to keep up with the demand. So you have no choice but to slow things down so that you don't, mess up your quality control or whatever it is. Not that Panini has much of that, but either way, I'm curious to see how it plays out because I'm wondering, if it was the same breach of contract that Panini was, that the NFLPA was going to do, then I was gonna get real worried about Panini for the now, because if the WWE is gonna move forward with their own breach, they must feel pretty confident they can get one. So I wonder what the breach for the NFLPA is. Is it the leadership thing, or is there a case somewhere around this? Are they, or do they both know that Panini messed up, and they both think they have a pretty good way to get out of this contract? That's what it makes me wonder. We saw the NFLPA do it. Now we're seeing WWE do it. So now I'm really wondering what the next move for them is, for sure.
Yeah, seems like Fanatics is about to have everything. Because also, I was reading earlier that UFC licenses are going to be ending at the end of the year too. So I'm expecting Fanatics to sweep them up. So
Oh, absolutely. And that's just a contract ending, right? That's not like a breach thing. That's just like a.
yeah, that's just contract ending. I expect Tops to have them again. I know Tops used to have them back way back when. The only reason I know that's because I looked at a couple of John Jones cards before the last time he fought, and all of his rookies are Tops, just straight Tops. So
Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see how that plays out, personally. But from our perspective as breakers, right, as a company that's our primary source of income, right, is doing the actual breaks. Fanatics hasn't exactly done anything to help us out, you know. Like they made their selling programs. I believe what they're doing in the long run. I believe their intentions are good for the consumer as far as regulating price. I don't believe in price gouging and all that stuff either. What we see, but I'm curious to see what it means for us, because I know, like, we don't have a brick and mortar store, so we can't, as of right now, we can't have a Topps buyer account. They're not doing to distributors. So at some point, when they take over, unless they come out with another program for breakers or whatever, it's going to be tougher for us to get product. So we'll have to see how that plays out. So I'm very interested in see what happens. I'm interested in the WWE situation, interested in NFLPA's situation, because this is like, do we have another 3-4 years to build those relationships with Fanatics, or is it like, no, this is it? On the flip side, I don't think that Fanatics is going to leave the breakers hanging, because they do have Fanatics Live. They've said multiple times that they think breaking is one of the ways of the future as far as selling cards and all this. So I'm optimistic. It's just there's unknown, and anytime there's unknown, you're excited, but you're also a little nervous because you don't know where you're going to go. And I know there's a lot of wholesalers and hobby shops who are also worried. So we're all kind of in this together, and we're gonna see what happens while these, massive companies just duke shit out to figure out the fate of the rest of the hobby. It's kind of a
yeah,
wild time in the hobby.
yeah, I'm curious what's going to happen with all the brick and mortar shops and like all the hobby shops and stuff. Like especially when Fanatics gets all this, because if Fanatics does do online only, what's going to happen to your local card shop, for example? Like,
Well,
are they just going to be sitting? It's
they're
going to
not gonna
be, it's
do
crazy.
they're not gonna do online only. They've already like put out their new buyers program. So to get a Topps Direct account, you have to have a brick and mortar store, and they're gonna make you log your sales. Some of these guys are they're working as if they were working in their garage. A lot of these guys aren't businessmen. They're just into the hobby. They want to sell cards. So they're gonna require everybody to record transactions. They're going to require them to share the reports with Fanatics, and then Fanatics from there will look at what their business is and decide how much they're going to send them. They're going to regulate pricing so that you can't sell to resellers, and they're going to make you sell it for a certain price. Kind of like how the iPhone, right? The iPhone, no matter what store you go to, the iPhone is the same. No matter what carrier you go to, the iPhone price is the same. So I think Fanatics wants that. They want you to go into a store. If I'm going to get a hobby box of this and it's $350 on Panini's website, they want to see it $350 in every single store. So they want to play God in the hobby, basically. that's what they want to do.
Not they
And
don't want to play
they're
God in the hobby. They want to play God in the sports world. We're going to be
in the
completely
sports
honest
world.
here.
You're
They
right.
want the whole entire sports world.
In the entire sports. That's what they want to do.
Yeah,
Sports
I don't know if
merchandise.
you. Speaking of sports merchandising, I don't know if you saw the pictures of the Kelly Green, Jalen Hurts shirts that were going around. There's a massive recall on them because every single one is like lopsided like this. They messed up all the shirts, so it's crazy. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. We'll
Yes,
definitely see what happens with that. It's going to be
indeedy.
interesting.
We'll move on to new releases.